Hey everybody, Mestre Sukuri coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. Mestre Vibes Podcast, episode 21 or 22, actually 22, I believe. Guys, I just finished the most amazing class with my kids. My kids' class is basically elementary school kids, and they run from the ages of about 7 to about 12. Today, there was 18 of us. 17 kids came in for class. I separated them between the small kids and the bigger kids. And we did just what I like to do is like power capoeira, which is about 300 techniques. We do 10 of each. We started with 20 ponteras, then 20 benção, 20 meia lua de frente, 20 queixada, 20 martelo, 20 chapa, 20 escorón. Then we did 20 armada, 20 meia lua de compasso, 20 chapéu de couro, 20 cocorinha, 20, what else did we do? Esquiva de costas. So we did 300 moves and basically no break. And I can't tell you guys how proud I am of my kids. And today I want to talk to you about my teaching style. Why do I teach the way I do? And I think it reflects on why I kind of feel sometimes not really kicked out of the Japanese capoeira circles. It's a whole different story over there. I'm not really interested in going anymore, and that's mostly because I know how the dynamics work, and we've talked about that in other podcasts. But for example, when I came to Japan, I came with that mentality in 1999 that you have to like be really strong, and I went to a lot of capoeira teams. At the time, there weren't so many. I would say maybe 2-3 different people teaching, and I was much better than the instructors. And I'm not saying like oh, this is me being really good, but the way they did it, a lot of the guys who had brought capoeira first to Japan were break dancers. They were dancers. They were looking at capoeira from a dance perspective, while I was coming at more from a martial arts perspective. There were a couple Brazilians who were teaching, but it was really hard for them to teach outside of only Brazilian community. There was one guy, I can't remember his name very well, but he taught, and later the teacher took over from Brazil and was here for a couple of months and then left. But I'm not really sure because I don't want to talk about things I don't know about, just hearsay. So mostly, there's never really been a lot of Brazilians teaching capoeira here in Japan, especially in Tokyo, because there's no real reason for Brazilians to be here. There was one guy who'd come with the performance group of Olodum, and he was like a capoeira dancer from Pelourinho. I say capoeira dancer because he came with with Olodum to do a show. And now he's in Eastern Europe, and sometimes we hit each other up on internet, on the email, because we reminisce on how funny things were back in the day. At the time in 1999 when I came, everybody was really trying to be the first pioneers of capoeira. Well, I could say for me, before me, there were no street rodas in Tokyo. So I'd ask people where the rodas were, this and that. I said everything was always organized or at like public rental spaces. They call Bunka Kaikan here, or Kumin Center. They would rent like a hall at the local city, sports center. And then they would do like rodas there, but there were none of them were really open rodas. So in 1999, I started doing rodas in front of this, which is now Big Camera. If you come to Shibuya Street, the Shibuya crossing, the really famous one, they used to close that on Sundays. And on those Sundays, I would have a roda. Sometimes we'd have to get into some irritating arguments with this breakdancing group that thought they owned that corner or whatever. But we'll leave that to something else, because moving around always made it even more exciting and more fun. But the main street from where Hachiko is, all the way up to where Don Quixote is now, it used to be across the street. It used to be closed off to traffic, and we would do street rodas there. And I was the first one. There's videos, and unless somebody can show me something a little bit older or place me something older, I think I'm the first one who did street rodas here in Tokyo. And the reason is because that's the way I learned that you open the roda, you become done with the roda, you learn to do what you're doing, and you grow from the process. And in that time, very few people from other groups, even though I had known that a lot of other groups knew, a lot of them didn't want to come. And there was I was told on several occasions, my students of mine, that Ozuador style, people call it a martial arts capoeira, right? And like I said, the base of capoeira here for a lot of the first generation, especially the Japanese, they were all break dancers. And I've mentioned this in my first book where, they would go to Brazil for special instructor courses for a month and come back and have their next cordon every year. So, and people complain, right? A lot of Brazilians are always complaining about like, oh, they're selling cordons or cultural appropriation. Look, it is what it is. Japan is for the Japanese. It's their country. They write the laws. They do everything. You can get stopped. If you're a foreigner, you can get stopped. I talked about that. The thing is to discover where you're happy in Japan. And like I said, later, I decided, I'm going to teach capoeira the way I learned it. And it was very, very martial art. I don't want to say martial art. I learned really fast here in Japan for me because we would do a lot of professional shows. There was the traveling show that I would do with my Uncle Francis and at the time Silvio Anastasio and several other, Robson Amaral, and a lot of really amazing Japanese musicians also. And that was for the Mombu show, which is the Ministry of Education. We would go around the country and just do shows. We went to Hokkaido. We went to everywhere, basically, except Okinawa, because I was a little bit outside. But I've been to Kyushu for a day, right? We'd go there, do the show, and then come back. And I had to develop a very performance artistic capoeira skill set, which was my uncle and the other artists were like, look, you need to be on time. They were always criticizing the capoeira, even though they weren't capoeiristas, because they were criticizing as professional performers. And I feel blessed that I also had a background growing up in junior high school. I always took drama, theater, stage production, and I really loved it. So I was really happy being able to really grow as an artist here over the last 24 years. And on the other side, I thought teaching my students had to be really like high octane, really let's go, like almost like, crazy psycho military capoeira. And I thought that was the way it was because that's the way I had seen it in Brazil for so many years. And that was the way, you keep students. People want to be focused. They want to get in good shape. They want to be hardcore. Now I realize it works for me. And when I travel and I see other instructors teaching, they don't have to do that. I mean, my way is my way. It works for me. I think it also, for example, if you look at my, I'm going to say November 1st Instagram, Mestre Sucuri Capoeira, and you'll see where I did the live class of the kids a few days ago, and they were just fantastic. We trained so hard. It's inspirational for them. It inspires me to train, and I feel incredibly fantastic doing that. So my style has always been that very artistic, clean, on-time flow, but the other side is a very hardcore, like martial arts style. Like here, we're going to use kicking pads, timing, distance, movement. I always tell students there's no such thing as too far or too close. You're either in distance or out of distance. So these kind of things have developed in my capoeira system and my capoeira style. And I'm not saying we're like a really good fighting capoeira. We're not a really good, we're not the best performance capoeira, but it works for what I do, especially in my location here in Japan. So today with the kids, we trained really hard. And right now I'm working on a better way to transition some of the older kids into the junior high school classes. So when they become junior high. And let me tell you why. In Japan, traditionally, when kids leave elementary school, they go to junior high, and they have something called bukatsu, which is like after-school club. It can be basketball. It can be anything, right? It could be like computer science, photography. It could be there's one like I heard one like no club. They just made a club called No Club, and they just hang out and do what they want. There's a ramen club, and it's kind of like traditional for Japanese to kind of in the culture to. Okay, we're going to do that, so I'm not going to have time for capoeira. And that's fine. That's happened before. But over the last 5 to 10 years, I would say Japan has changed a lot, and the pressure and social stigma or the educative stigma of going to bukatsu has lessened. And right now, I'm retaining more and more kids going into junior high. Right now, I have Kaidi. I've got a couple kids who want to come back now that they're in high school. But we'll see how that works out. But for example, Kaidi, I know Bohash is just incredible. And he's like, he's going to be a second-year high school student next year. And he's just fantastic. My nephew grew up here, and he did it for the whole time till he was, he went away to college. He was also fantastic. When he was here, we were playing music. You guys saw that. Did the interview with him. And I'm trying to transition the sixth graders to continue capoeira. How do you do that when they're going to have so many new things available to them? The pressure to join outside after school, and also puberty hitting. So how do I maintain their interest to tell their parents I want to stay in capoeira and that they have that life set? I know I can't do it with all of them, but what I'm doing now is I'm transitioning one by one of the sixth graders every month or two into the adults class. Say, hey, why don't you come try out the adults class? Come with like, I got a really good student, Teru, who's sixth grade, but he loves capoeira. And I'm hoping that he'll stay during junior high, but I've got to make that investment. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let another one, a little young boy who's going to be coming in, and I'm going to say, hey, come try the class with when he's here. Because there's always the shock of transitioning to the adults class. And I'm thinking it's better to do that shock before they go to junior high than when they go to junior high. Up until now, I've always kept it like right when they go to junior high. After that, they come to adults class. But I think there's so much life shock as I reflect on it. Say they're going to junior high, puberty, new friends, new situation, new school. So to help them better cope with that and have capoeira more as an anchor, as something stable in their life, psychologically, emotionally, and community and culturally, I'm starting to try to transition the sixth graders into the adults class slowly, like once a week come to the adults class, so they can see how much different it is, so they can see that the adults class is not only different, but it's more enjoyable because they're more surrounded by people who are involved in doing capoeira because they choose to, not because mom wants them to, not because it's tanoshi, fun or exciting, but because they actually want to do it. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. And if I want to share with you guys how I'm evolving as an instructor and also as a businessman, because I need to keep my students, and things are looking really good. Let me just check the time on this bad boy real quick. We've been doing, a lot of things with preparing for 2024, and things are going really good. I got a lot of good programs, and part of that program is to be able to transition a lot of the junior high, the elementary school kids, which is about right now, I want to say about 5 or 6 kids, slowly to try to transition into the adult classes, or where they're going to be part of the classes with the other junior high school kids. And a big thing with that is that they feel comfortable and already welcome, instead of shocking them when they transition over into the new class. Okay, so that's a little bit about my teaching style and how it developed. And going back to the whole situations why I'm not really involved in a lot of capoeira with the Japanese capoeira teachers, it's just a personal choice after many years. I mean, I'm a professional capoeira teacher. It's like, I really love capoeira. I really love the Afro-Brazilian aspects, the Brazilian culture aspects of it. And up until now, I just don't really get any share any energy when I participate in a lot of that stuff. Or when I see videos, it's just not appealing to me. They can do whatever they want. Nobody owns capoeira. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I got my way of doing it. But also, it's about time, right? If I'm going to take time out of my schedule, for example, most of the events will be on a Saturday or on a Sunday. If I'm going to take time out of my professional schedule, it's like asking people who work in a bank or work in a construction, say, hey, look, take a day off to come do capoeira, or no, come do construction, or come work in another bank for free. Wait, that's your job. Why would I do that? It seems crazy, but it's the same thing with me. People will ask me to volunteer all the time. This is my job. I mean, I work from capoeira. Every time I do capoeira, I risk the chance of an injury. So I'm really careful on how I'm going to do that. But putting that to the side, 2024 is looking fantastic. I've talked to a couple of people who will be willing to host an event. A couple of events I've been not invited, but people who would be willing to help me organize something in Europe. A couple of people who would be willing to hook up something in the United States. Of course, Korea, Thailand, because we have Capoeira Zoador. I'll be going out there. And I'm really going to try to organize myself better, equip myself. And a lot of that is because what's going on here on Patreon, that I have a little bit of funds so that I can update it and I can buy equipment. For example, better sound recording equipment, better carrying case. There's a lot of little things that come together with all of this stuff. But I'd really like to travel to Korea, Thailand, to Taiwan, and anywhere else that I can get to, and really share my love of capoeira. And really just, I'd love to do more recordings live with groups. I feel that if I can inspire people to understand capoeira music as what it is, capoeira music, the key word being music, then we can create more ashe. Personally, the main reason I don't go to a lot of the other groups in Japan is because I really don't like the music they do. It's a lot of it is screaming, copying the pronunciation. A lot of times things sound really strange, and it doesn't inspire me to play capoeira. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I know that. I'm not saying that they have to come to mind, but it's my choice, right? Always, like nowadays, I was like, no, you shouldn't say that. They do it their way. Everyone has their way. Dude, no. Guys, no. If I don't like it, I don't go. And for all of you guys, a lot of times, a lot of my generation now, masters and masters are stopping to go where they don't want to go. We're not obligated to anything. But I thought that would just be something fun to say. Like I said, I'm really feeling great because my kids were so awesome. I'm actually recording this right after class, and I'm going to put this on this next Friday. So if you want to see the class that I did with my kids, go to Mestre Sukuri Capoeira Instagram, and it's on there. I might even share the link on here on Patreon so you guys can see it. But it was a fantastic class and really inspirational. I'm hardcore capoeira. I know it sounds strange to say that, but I am artistically, musically, spiritually, philosophically, and of course, Nahasa, right into the bones, man. I love it. We did so many kicks today. I feel fantastic. I'm getting ready for 2024. Guys, thanks for joining me today. As always, leave your comments. Tell me what you think. If you want to email me. I'm here for you guys. Mestre Sukuri, Tokyo, Japan, Mestre Vibes podcast. Have a great day. Lots of love, lots of peace.